Hello, welcome to this review for Duke Nukem Forever, the brand new Duke Nukem game. My name's Tom. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/TomTomSGC. I'm also part of the forum and community of sweetffa.co.uk and .com. And I'll put up all the other details and stuff, Twitter and all that kind of malarkey as before. Well, I haven't done a review for absolutely ages. I haven't really been playing much. I played some Call of Duty Black Ops, and then really I've just been watching a couple of TV series. Currently loving the new season of House. I think Hugh Laurie in that is fantastic, but that's not why you're here. And I'm not really doing reviews for TV series. So Duke Nukem Forever, I just got it today. It came out this Friday, and I was expecting a lot. Well, in a way I wasn't. I don't know. It's partly like I loved the game. I remember fond memories of playing at college, where you'd in your lunch hour we'd race back to town, get to the internet cafe. About 5 or 6 of us would be playing sort of network Duke Nukem, kind of like people are doing now, obviously with a much bigger sort of circle with Call of Duty and stuff. And it really kicked off for me multiplayer gaming and multiplayer sort of shooters. It then evolved for me doing stuff like Counter-Strike Source, or Counter-Strike as it was and then became Counter-Strike Source. And again, that was sort of absolutely brilliant. And nowadays I can't play that because it's just far too, PC gamers are far too good for me. I haven't played like that for years. So this is for the Xbox 360, Duke Nukem Forever. Now, because of the expectation, because of what I remember as playing at college and with your mates, I was hoping for a lot. The game used to be fun, the game used to be interesting, the storyline was, wasn't the best storyline ever, but it was funny. And they've tried to inject humour into this, but it's almost gone too far the other way, and it's just crude for the sake of being crude. And it probably was before, but I guess when you're a bit younger, you don't sort of think of it in those kind of terms. With this one, I just kind of felt that it took a long time to get into sort of playing the game. It's a lot of sort of story cut screens. Music's pretty good, good soundtrack to the game. Then when you do get in it, it just kind of feels clunky. I installed it onto my hard drive because I'd heard it has some long load time, so I thought this might be a better way of doing it. But no, it still takes absolutely ages. So, I mean, the first thing you get to is this big kind of boss already. Start blasting it, getting used to the game, getting used to controls, and again, they're fairly simple, but you're just getting into it. You die, it takes you, 45 seconds to a minute to reload back to kind of just where you were. And the load screens are just awful. For gaming nowadays, they must be able to do it better. I mean, Forza 3 annoys me with how long it takes to load, but the game itself is really playable, so it's a trade-off. But this, when you're playing it, you're just kind of like, oh, I'll keep going. But at the moment, it hasn't got any better. Now, the bit that's annoying me the most is it's going to have cost me £10 to play the first hour of gameplay, and I'm going to sort of trade it in over the weekend. It's not engaged me, not gripped me. It's not very good. It just isn't a very good game. I thought, right, the storyline might be crappy, so I remember the multiplayer. That's what got me going. That's where I started. So let's try that. So go onto Xbox Live, do the multiplayer game, and it's worse, if that's going to be believable. People are, bitching about COD and all that. Now, it was just not a very good map. It wasn't a very good playing style. You didn't engage very well with it. The multiplayer was just atrocious. So really, this is a recommendation that, you may want to get the game for your historical sake, but don't spend 40 quid on it. Wait, there'll be a lot of trade-ins very soon, and the price will drop. I can guarantee that to an Asda bargain bin fairly soon. It's a shame because it took so long to make, and like I say, the history and the, for people my age who played the original, in a way you've kind of, you're not to expect too much, but actually I should, a little bit more would have been nice for the development time that has obviously gone into this. And it's, I'd say avoid this game until it's maybe £5, possibly a tenner, when you can then maybe forgive its misgivings and play through the story. I might get it again another day, but while it's still worth 30 quid trading to get something like Portal 2, LA Noire, although I'm still hearing mixed reviews about that, but there's plenty of other games out there that I think will satisfy multiplayer and single player missions at the moment. Wait. That's my overall thing with this game. Wait. You might like to play it just for your 90s historical retro gaming. I like Duke Nukem, but at the moment it's not a good enough game. It's maybe if they make another one as a sequel to this in a shorter time, but actually make it better, that version might be worth a spend. But at the moment, Duke Nukem Forever, I'm terribly sorry, don't touch it. Hello, this is Tom. This is actually going to be kind of an add-on to what I've already said about Duke Nukem. I've just been playing it again for about another sort of hour and a half, 2 hours. And while again it's very repetitive, there are a few nice touches that I obviously hadn't got to in the story. You know, as the guns get bigger, you do get your old BFG and rail guns and all the rest of it. So there's quite a large quantity of weapons. I spent about 25 minutes on one particular bad guy. You get sort of put in this pit. This is a spoiler, by the way. You get put in this pit, and it's a big mother of a beast. And it took me a good few goes to get it right. Now I'm sure some hardcore gamers out there be going, "Oh, that was an easy bad boss," you know. But it did remind me back to, you know, when I was first playing these sort of first-person shoot-em-ups that were sort of your Dooms, your Quakes, where you actually had an end-of-level boss, which in a way you don't seem to get anymore. So in that respect, it's quite nice. It was better than expected there. I still wouldn't recommend it. From what I'd said before, that kind of still holds true. I think it's not the best game they could have released after 13 years off for Duke Nukem, but if it is your cup of tea, and I thought it was mine, but I think it's not as bad a game as first given, and it seemed, because it's got quite a long storyline, unlike the COD games these days. Actually, I think it develops, and if you're used to it like COD nowadays, you want it to develop much quicker than it does. So I think actually, if you invest some time in it, you might get a bit more reward from it than you'd first realise. But it is fairly repetitive. Not much changes apart from the fact that the big bad guys at the end of a level. A few little nice touches in there. You go to do this one particular sort of section of the game, and there's like, "Here, Duke, take this particular gun." I think it's the rail gun. He's like, "Why not take some armour?" And he's like, "No, that's for pussies." And the armour that you see, if you pay attention to it, it's from Halo. It's the Master Chief sort of green helmet, and so it was a little dig as well in there to some other games. So that was quite funny. But reading online, for some people who've had this a bit long, I think over in America, they've been sort of saying, I'm at this particular point in the game, have I got long left to play, because I can't really be bothered. And I think people are already, from maybe a week or so ago from America and here, people are already bored with it and just don't. Each mission is fairly similar to sort of bad guys, big boss at the end. You can get frustrated with it. The load times are still awful for when you do die against the bosses, which is invariably will happen. One of the times I did it, I had to run and get some ammo, and I got killed in the first 3 seconds of starting it. And rather than sort of respawning quickly, you have to again wait for the next 45 seconds to a minute for it to reload itself, even when it's installed on your Xbox hard drive. So yeah, my initial review still stands, but maybe take some of the harshness away from it. It could be a good game. It may get better as it goes on. I'm not sure I can be bothered to find out. But if you were a big Duke Nukem fan, or you like longer story missions, again the multiplayer I just didn't bother trying with. But if you like longer story missions, maybe the format of a real big boss at the end, this game then is actually for you. But otherwise, still wait for it to be really cheap. before you actually spend any money. It's not worth the full retail price at the moment. And I'm sorry to say that for developers, because obviously, you know, I do like to pay for a game for the developers, and I know there's markup, but still, you know, if you buy it new rather than pre-owned, it's going back to the developers rather than just to the, you know, the game shops themselves. So it could be one to keep if it's your kind of thing. I know I've said this a bit, and I'm wondering, it's now about midnight, so I'm kind of tired. Also, just quickly, I noticed my sunglass tan lines. I hadn't seen that before until I sort of filmed this, so that's quite funny. So feel free to comment on my choice of sunglasses and the fact that I've now got a very nice white line on the side of my head. Other than that, I shall leave it till next time. I'll trade Duke Nukem in, get a new game, and I'll try and review that one as well. So until then, good night, sleep well, and enjoy Duke Nukem if you get it. I wouldn't get it.